11 in current year, I'm going to teach you how to make it less bloated at minimal cost to you. The tool that we're going to be using to do this is called Win11Debloat, which is basically a free and open source collection of PowerShell scripts that do things like remove some of the default apps that ship with Windows, which Microsoft does not let you uninstall, or at least they don't let you uninstall them on the non-EU versions of Windows. I think people that are within Europe, they get special privileges. But yeah, if you're in America or anywhere else in the world, some of these apps probably really get on your nerves. Like this whole top row really annoys me in ways that's hard to put into words. So, Microsoft Edge, this is basically just a more bloated version of Chrome at this point. Like it literally is using the same browser engine as Chrome under the hood. I don't really know anyone that is using Microsoft Edge on purpose. Like there's probably a few old folks in my family that just don't know about other browsers and they just use Edge because it's there. But if you're using any other browser, like probably most people watching this is just taking up space on your system needlessly. Now, this group here, right, the whole Microsoft Office suite is really annoying because, when you open up anything from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, whatever, and you haven't already purchased a license key for Microsoft Office, or you're not signed in with a Microsoft account that has Office 365 purchased on it, then you basically have just a lockdown version of the app. Like the app is still taking up space on your hard drive. If you open it, it's going to use up RAM and CPU cycles and everything like that, but you can't actually use it, right? You have this window that's blocking you and you try to click around it, you can't do anything except for close Word, which of course closes it down. So yeah, if you're using LibreOffice, any other Office suite, or if Windows is just a glorified gaming system to you, like I suspect it is for several people watching this, then this is just needlessly using up your hard drive space and your start menu real estate. Mail and calendar, I don't know anyone who uses these. Microsoft Store, I don't know anyone who uses that on purpose either. WhatsApp is here for some reason. I don't know. Maybe that's the result of some shady back alley deal with Microsoft and the Zuck. OneNote, we kind of already covered that. Paint, honestly, Paint is the only thing in here that's, halfway decent. I used to goof off in Paint all the time when I was in school. So, yeah, Paint's a little nostalgic. The rest of this, though, it's just bloat that, again, you can't remove by default in Windows. Of course, any good debloating tool is going to let you remove the telemetry that's enabled in Windows. This is basically a constant stream of diagnostic data that your PC is sending to Microsoft so that they can supposedly improve their operating system. Yet, the more data that they collect, the worse Windows seems to get. Strange how that works. Now, when it comes to debloating Windows, what I've seen most people do out there is create a custom ISO for Windows 10 or Windows 11 that starts off debloated. And they just use that for Windows installations, or if they're already using Windows, they just reinstall it from that USB stick. Or like if their grandma says that their computer's slow, then they just install their version of Windows on it for her. But I feel like that's a little bit more of an advanced thing to do, right? Like running a PowerShell script on an already running version of Windows, which is what this is. Like this doesn't reinstall Windows, it just debloats it for you. I feel like that's going to be a little bit easier for most people to do, and obviously you don't have to deal with data loss with reinstalling Windows. Although, let me be very clear, you should absolutely make a backup of your Windows installation if you got anything important on there before running any type of debloating script. Okay, backup, create a system restore point, whatever you got to do to make sure that your data is safe. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with this. Okay, so if we scroll down to usage, we see that the quick method here is to just copy this bit of code and then run PowerShell as a administrator. And then of course you have to click yes on the user account control thing, and then just paste this in. But I don't think that this is the way that most Windows users are going to want to do their debloating. And it can be dangerous just copying random stuff and pasting it into PowerShell as an administrator. So we're going to go with the traditional method where we download the latest version of this script here. And then we're going to just extract it here into the downloads folder. And then we get this Win11Debloat master. So if we go into here, what we're looking for is this run.bat, or this Windows batch file that says run. So if you double click that, it'll again give you the user account control prompt, so select yes on that. And then it pulls up your administrator PowerShell window. And so now we're running the debloat script. So default mode is going to just apply default settings, but for the sake of this tutorial, and also you should probably just at least see what it does the first time you run it, we're going to go through custom mode. All right, so our options from here are to first remove the default selection of bloatware apps from applist.txt. So applist.txt is right here in the same folder as the run.bat. And so this has the list of everything that it takes off by default if you wanted to browse through that. We can remove from that list, or we can remove that list in addition to mail, calendar, developer apps, and gaming apps, or we can select which apps to remove and which ones to keep. So I'll do option 3, and that's going to bring up this pop-up window where you can now scroll through and select different apps. You can check or uncheck all at the top, and I recommend checking this one to only show installed apps, because not all Windows installations are the same. Some people are lucky and they get extra bloat that others don't get, or maybe they're unlucky. I guess it depends on how you look at it. All right, so I can go through here, and I'm going to get rid of Edge. I'm going to get rid of the Microsoft Get Help, Microsoft People. I'm going to leave Paint because, like I said, Paint is it's got a special place in my heart. Remove Outlook, remove OneDrive. We'll get rid of this whiteboard, calendar, camera, communications apps, Windows Store. Definitely gonna get rid of that. All this Xbox stuff. I don't even own an Xbox. Microsoft Earphone. I don't even know what that is. Is that from like the Microsoft phone days? Okay, sure. Yeah, I think this is good. So we'll confirm, and then it tells you here that you have selected 32 apps for removal. And, depending on what apps you select, like this Xbox thing, you have this extra option to disable Xbox Game DVR. Sure. Then we have the option to remove all pinned apps from the start menu. This applies to all existing and new users and can't be reverted. So that's all of this bloat here that they were talking about. I'm going to say yes. Disable telemetry, absolutely. And app launch tracking and targeted ads, yeah. I'd really appreciate if Microsoft didn't track everything that we did within this operating system. Disable tips, tricks, suggestions, and start screen, yep. Disable and remove Bing Search, Bing AI, and Cortana in Windows Search. Absolutely. I thought that Windows or Microsoft pretty much killed Cortana off, so I guess you just kind of have Cortana's corpse floating around in Windows, and this will delete that or disable it. Disable Windows Copilot, yes, even though I don't have it enabled on here. Or no, recall, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, disable recall, even though I don't have it on here because I don't have one of those fancy Snapdragon X PCs. Restore the old Windows 10 style context menu. So this apparently doesn't work depending on what version of Windows you're running. So let me see. I'm running 22631, 23H2, and this OS build. So yeah, we'll just see. I mean, this is a test anyway. There's nothing important on this computer. So we'll see what happens. Do you want to make any change to taskbar? Nope. And any changes to Windows Explorer? Nope. Disable context menu options? No. And then we'll press enter to confirm. Let's see if it breaks this Windows install or if it just debloats it. All right, so it says that the script completed successfully. I did notice that there was one error here, I guess, with uninstalling Microsoft Edge. So let's see if it's in here. I mean, I don't have anything pinned. And yeah, it looks like Edge still is on there. So might be a little bit of additional work that needs to be done to get rid of Edge completely. But as you can see, everything else was done successfully. A whole lot of stuff was removed successfully. So now this Windows is debloated.